Welcome back, guys. So today we are going to be completing the threat hunting module. This time around we're going to utilize Redline and Mandiant IOCe search collector for this threat hunting exercise, right? So what is threat hunting? Threat hunting is going beyond the medieval antivirus and intrusion detection system that we probably are used to by now, right? So for example, if we say we have antivirus that detects malwares across the system or malicious activities, threat hunting is saying we are not doing that, right? We are not using the same scheme and the same method as a modern or a typical antivirus IDS IPS would use, right? So we are taking it a step further. How are we doing this? So we're leveraging intelligence, right? So intelligence, for example, if you were in the banking sector or the banking industry, so I'm going to use banks in Nigeria that I know of, right? So say we have First Bank, Access Bank, Zenith Bank, right? And Access Bank, probably have or got infected in the past week, right? And then they noticed some kind of files or malware in the system that led to a very big breach. Maybe they lost some millions, billions of naira, right? So they are now saying their threat analyst or threat intelligence, team now say, okay, this were what we gathered from that incident, right? So for example, if it was a user clicking a file that led to that compromise, right, and that led to the installation of that malware, right, we are now saying, okay, how did that user click that file? What file did they click, right? So the file that they click now, what are the properties of that file? So the properties of that file is what we're going to be looking at in this area. Why do we want to look at the properties of that file, right? So files are unique by their properties. Now, if you had a malware with the name payload.exe, for example, right? So payload.exe will probably be 3 kilobytes or 3,000 bytes, right? You probably have the name payload.exe. We probably have some strings in it, right? Strings in it could be a command line script. Say, okay, get some kind of HTML or some kind of HTTP web page, right? Install so stuff, right? Maybe PowerShell or all of those script in it, right? As a string, right? The properties of a file can also include its hashes, right? We know by now that hashes are used to verify integrity, right? So if we said we are gathering the file size, right? The file name, right? The file properties like the hashes, MD5, SHA-256, or 512, right? And for example, strings, what does the content of that file contain, right? So using all of this, a threat hunter could use this IOCe. So all the stuff that I just mentioned, file name size, etc., right? They are also known as IOCs, indicators of compromise, right? Indicators that, okay, this is the property of the malware or sample. We're not giving you the real malware, but they're giving you what made up that malware, right? So that if you ever find it on your system, right, you could eradicate it, or you could know that, okay, this is what haunted us in the past week, right? So what we're about to go into in today's class will be dealing with that, right? So we're about to use a module in Security Blue Team, right? Part of their free courses, right? It is called the Introduction to Threat Hunting. So if you already have not signed up to securityblue.team, right, I urge that you do that and then create an account, come to free courses. After you're done creating the account, scroll down till you find Intro to Threat Hunting, right? So we are going to complete these tasks today. So we have several tasks here, but the main aim of the course is to teach us how to hunt for threats, how to hunt for malware, right? How to hunt for malware. So we're going to need two softwares in this class, right? So one is the Redline, right, by FireEye, and the other is the IOCe editor, also by FireEye. So this is the link to download this IOCe editor, and this is the link to download the FireEye, right? So I want that you install this on a Windows virtual machine, right? You could use this on your main Windows host if you're using a Windows computer, but what I am on presently is a Windows virtual machine running on a Mac host, right? So in the course of this module, we're going to interact with real malware, right? So one that you're on a virtual machine in case anything goes wrong, right? Or you accidentally, execute some of those malwares. We don't even have to execute them, right, to do what we want to do, right? But should in case of that, you could easily just, delete your virtual machine, reinstall it, or restore back to a previously known good state, right? So yeah, we're going to talk about introduction to threat hunting, right? So I may not do a lot of the reading with us because I want that we digest it as we can, all right, and then learn about it, because there's quiz at every end of a course, right? There's a quiz that we need to complete, and here we need to do it and then submit, right? So threat hunting is really important, and here says that it is an aggressive approach that is built to unhide threats that are hidden in the network or system, evading security standard tools. So standard tools like firewall, IDS, SIEMs all rely on alerts to stimulate action. So alerts are not perfect, and they can lead analysts into embarking on a time consuming and resource draining chase, right? False positive can make a SOC analyst susceptible to alert fatigue, which can lead to stress and burnout, right? So in summary, threat hunting is a research-focused and innovative detection approach that is completely different from the traditional SOC analyst, which happens to be more technology-focused, right? The proactive mindset of tagging interesting techniques and formulating hypotheses for the new attack techniques is imperative for organizations in the 21st century, right? So while you're completing this task, come to threat hunting popularity, read about everything, why it's important, what we need it for, maybe the salaries of threat hunters, what you need to learn to become a threat hunter, and so on and so forth, certifications, where to get more, knowledge about them. You see Act the Box here, try Acme, and beat Blue Team Labs online. So this is particular to the security Blue Team, right? Their labs online. And then yes, this is the salary I was saying. Just scroll through all of this, right? I want to go, as straight to the point as possible into this class, so wrap up the threat hunting, model. So yes, you could start the quiz. If you started it, you would be asked what is threat hunting, right? You'll be asked all of this, so answer them, but the answers would be when you've read from 1 to, just read everything here, 1 to 9, right? So I'm going to go to the next domain here, which is generating indicators, right? So earlier, as I said, I was talking about indicators of compromise, right? IOCs, and I said that there are properties that make the files unique, right? Properties that make a file unique. So we want to be able to generate them. I'm going to teach you how to do that. We're going to go through several samples, right, that would use to gather the IOCs. What are we gathering? Name, size, hash, say MD5 512 to 56, and then strings, say content of that file, so that we are going to run a scan across our system, right, on a live machine, and say, do any file, anything on our system match with these IOCs that we have, right? So where can you get IOCs like this? So when my previous illustration about the banks, if Access Bank was the victim of that compromise earlier and they gathered that intel and they said the IOCs of this particular malware that led to the compromise losing a lot of money, right? Other banks like Zenith, First Bank can learn from that, right? The threat intelligence team can use the IOCs, right, and say, okay, we're using the threat hunt, right? Let's see if our IDS did not even detect this kind of malware, and then we want to catch it, we want to eradicate it, right? So we're not going to fall victim to the same thing, right, that happened to Access Bank. They're going to teach us what indicators are. So for example here, if an IP is behaving maliciously, it can be considered an IOC. So for example, when an organization A is suffering from a distributed denial of service attack by 5 IPs, they could tell organization B to look out for that 5 IPs that are attacking them, and they are now considered indicators of compromise, right? It means the organization B can set up alerts for these IPs, so if they attempt to do the same thing, they can immediately block them, right? So you see here all of those things that could, be our IOCs: IP, email, file sizes, hashes, strings, etc. That's what this is about, right? I'm also going to scroll past this to the next one, how we can generate, right? So if we have a file, to get its properties depending on the kind of machine that you are on, right? If you're a Windows machine, you could easily right click a file, go to its properties, see its name, see its size, and then if we needed to get more information such as the hash, right, I'll show you how to use it with Linux and also with Windows, right? Linux is pretty easy. I'll spawn up a Linux machine here, but I'm going to show you with my Windows. So if you are in a Linux environment and say we have a file like this, rich.pdf, right, we could easily maybe navigate to this file. It's located on the desktop, right? So the name rich.pdf, you can say something like file rich.pdf to kind of know the kind of file it is. We know this name is rich.pdf, right? This is the name. The size is 1.5 megabytes. Let me do it in a normal readable. Okay, so this is the size in bytes, right? So typically if you wanted to gather the size for this one, would use in bytes, not sum up like this, or rounded off up like this, right? It needs to be in bytes, right? The name rich.pdf. So what else do we need probably from this file? Maybe strings, right? So if I type strings and I said rich.pdf, there are a lot of strings in here, so I could capture something like maybe this, right? Or this is just a PDF, it's a book, right? But normally if it was a malware, we could just gather some strings there and say, okay, I'm going to keep this out, right? And then I can do something like get the MD5 sum. So hashes, we have several types of hashes, right? We have MD5, SHA-1, SHA-2, SHA-256, SHA-512, etc., right? So we could say MD5 sum of the same rich.pdf, right? And then we write this down somewhere. This is MD5 sum. If you wanted the SHA-512, we'll do the same thing, SHA-512 sum, right? Rich.pdf, right? This is it. If we wanted SHA-256, we'll do SHA-256 sum the PDF. We have it, right? But note that this is only on the Linux machine. So if you were in a Windows environment, you would use a different command entirely. So let me show you how that would look like if you're doing it on a Windows, right? So this is how you would do it if you're on a Windows, right? So we can use PowerShell or we can use the command prompt, right? So I'll show you how to use both of them. So PowerShell is already on our screen. You could do something like get file hash, right? And then the file you want to get. So by default, PowerShell will give you a SHA-256 hash unless you specify the hash algorithm. So if I said get file hash, the algorithm I want MD5, then to give me MD5. If I want SHA-256, I say SHA-256, it gives me. If I wanted SHA-512, I specify here, followed by the name of that file, it gives me. But if I'm using command prompt here, so let's see if there's any file in this directory. Let me navigate to pictures, see if there's anything here. I don't think there's any picture here. So let me download the regular image. Right, so this image will still be used within the task. It's going to be part of the, the task you need to complete, gathering the IOCe about this particular image. So I already have it downloaded in my downloads folder. I think it's this one. It's this one, right? So I'm just going to navigate to my downloads. So let me check properties. So for example, the name of the file now, we can find it here. It's located in download. So I want to navigate here. I'm going to launch a command prompt now and say change directory, double quotes, paste the directory name here. If I did a dir to list the content of this directory, I'd say the Clint Peterson, gibberish and splash.jpg, right? So the tool we're going to use here is setutil, right? So we say setutil, we're going to say hash file, and we're going to say Clint Peterson. I'm going to say we want the MD5, right? So MD5 of this file is this. You write this out. If you wanted SHA-512, do the same thing. It gives us, here it is, right? I'm not showing you how to get the kind of hash of these different files. If you wanted different hashes of this file, right? So 256 will give us as well, right? So now we know how to generate hashes of file using Linux, using Windows, right? And also using PowerShell, in Windows, command prompt in Windows. So you're not going to be stranded whichever machine you want to run it on, right? But since we're going to be utilizing the Windows, so why not learn the Windows setutil and how to get the hash file, the hash of this file. So we're done with this task, and then let's continue. So we are about to use the first software in this class. That's the Mandiant IOCe editor, right? So introduction to Mandiant IOCe editor is a free tool that provides an interface for managing data, manipulating the logical structures of IOCs, right? So they're owned by this software company, FireEye. It's a threat intelligence company, and then it is free to use, right? So if we wanted to download it, so here, read here quickly, it is only designed for Windows, so we would need a Windows disk image. I'm already running a virtual machine, Windows virtual machine, so it's there. I wouldn't need this. But if you want to download it, as I was showing you earlier, if I click this download here, it's going to take me to this link that I have opened here. So I'll share this link with you, but you could also just click download it. It's going to open that tab, and then you can download if you want, right? Just click download here. Then if you click download, it's going to ask you to fill in information like this. I'm just going to fill in random info, right? Doesn't have to be your correct information, and then download that. It will be a zip file, right? I already have it downloaded, and it is here. It is this one, right? So if you double click this, I already have it installed. So if you double click this, it might ask you that you need to download a I'm going to cancel the installation. It might ask you to download this .NET framework just in case. It asked me, right? But if it asked you, just said yes, and then you could come download this, install it. It's going to run some setup on your machine, right? Do that, ensure it's installed successfully, right? If it's installed successfully, you would have this interface. So I'm just going to open it up. Mandiant, right? Here's how it will look like. So first launch, it's going to ask you to select a directory for it. So I could come something like maybe desktop. I make a new folder and say, let's edit this folder. If I right click this, I should be able to rename it and say threads hunting, right? Okay. So I've created that, right? I can do something like file new, right? I want to create a new indicator. So the name can be indicator, let's say malware indicators or malware IOCs, right? Author can be your name, right? Just put your name there. And then description. So say for example, IOCs collected from the recent breach at XYZ bank, right? For example. So here's how we now add those IOCs, right? So if you right click here, you could do something like add item. So these are the list of things you could add, the properties of that file you're looking for. So if it was a file item, when you click file item here, so if I want to add a file name, so I can just scroll up and look for where there's a file name. Okay, there's file name, right? And say something like, what was that file we're checking now? Clint Patterson and Splash, right? So file name, contains, well, just delete this. So do it again. So add item, file item. Come on. My mouse is trigger happy. So where's file name again? Right? .jpg. Right? So here you see something like and or, right? So if I put something else here now, so for example, file size. So where's file item? And I say, okay, I want this time around file size. Where's file size? Right? And I say maybe 20 bytes or 200. Okay, let me get the real size. So I'm going to take away the commas, right? So this is the file size. So this is all. So all is saying that either of this, if any file matches this name or it matches the size, sort of alerts me. But if I'm saying it needs to match the name and it needs to match the size, and then say for example a particular hash, then I'll be using a hand here, right? But because I just want anyone, right? Either it matches the size, the name, and then let's try to gather the MD5 hash of that file. I think we did earlier on. I'm just going to open CMD again and say what's that location now? I think it was downloads. Let's get it. I'm just going to copy this and navigate here, right? CD double quotes, paste it there. I have the file here, and I can do set util hash file cleaned, let's say md5. Right, so if I had another item and say let the file file md5, right? So put this here. Need to edit it. There is a open bracket here. Okay, so I can also add maybe the 512 or SHA-256, right? And say let's hunt for this file. So if we were done, right, and we saved this like this, right, that has been saved in that directory that we provided earlier, threat hunting. So if I wanted to now hunt for this file, I'm now going to utilize the Redline, the second tool that we're going to use in this task. So is there a quiz? So yeah, they're just going to teach you how to install the IOCe collector, create that directory, just as we've done, right? Just as we've done. So do all of that. So I think it's the same file they're going to use here, right? Then the 5 hash, SHA-1 hash. Yes, you could get SHA-1 hash too. Just follow along, right? This is a quiz for you to complete. Here you learn about that, and right, if we have 3 IOCs in this tree, so all of them needs to match for us to get a positive hit, right? So if only 2, it would not notify us. Study all of this. This is yours. This is for you to complete. Is there a quiz? So this is a quiz for you to complete, right? You're going to download this file. It is a zip file, right? I downloaded it earlier and it is here. So you do the same thing. I think it's this one with the same name, right? 12 IOCe activity files. If you check it, so you have 4 files here, right? What the quiz wants to know is that, so I'll do one with us. What the quiz wants to know is here. So let's navigate to the directory where I have that file. Hopefully it opens. Yeah, it will not open because the file is currently zipped, but I think I extracted it to this folder. So 12. Oh, did I not extract it? I think I did. So I'm just going to extract it. So I can do something like, okay, here it is. I know I extracted it. So copy, change directory. Right, dir. So it wants to know the name of the file, the size of this same file. Right here, we already have the name of this file 1. We have the size 86 bytes. So we can now get, I think, MD5. You see, SHA-1, MD5, file size, full name. So there's a file beginning with 1. That is this file, not this one. This one starting with 1. The file beginning with 2, 3, 4. So do all of that generation for each of those files. Gather the SHA-1, the MD5. Let me show you how to get SHA-1. I think it's set util hash file 1, and I say SHA-1, right? Right, this is the SHA-1 of it. So you already have the size here, And when you're answering the question, if there's a comma, don't put the comma in the answer. Just write 13264, right? So you get the score for that. Submit it, and then we'll go to the next one, which is now malware hunting, right? So here is the malware hunting phase, right? So we are going to, sort of try to hunt for that malware. How do we hunt for the malware, right? So we can convert malware found using the IOCe shared with the hunter. So usually from a threat intelligence team, this is what we are providing an insight to in this course. Or we compare known good values against systems to check for any differences. So an example of this would be comparing properties of window processes to see if they have been altered. So for example, we could create an IOCe file that has the file hash of important processes like winlogon.exe, smss.exe, and others, right? Obviously this will alert these files to us because they should match. So if we set the IOCe that is not, so any file that the name is this and then the hash is not matching what it's supposed to be, right, alert me. Then I know that, okay, this is a malware hiding under the name of the legitimate process, right? We'll see in action quickly, like when we try to install the Redline, right? The download link is here, but if you click this, it will take you, so it's this link, you download it, right? If you click download, it's also going to be a zip file. I have that zip file here, SDL Redline, right? You could extract it like this, like just right click, extract all, right? Then it's going to extract and have this file. Double click it, it's going to install, right? So whatever it asks you, maybe prerequisites or anything that needs to be installed for it to work, just do it and ensure that it works. But do it on your virtual machine. Don't install it on your host computer, right? It's not hard to get Windows virtual machine. If you wanted a Windows virtual machine, you could do something like Windows 11 ISO, right? Windows 11 ISO, you could click here, right? Maybe this one, and then select for x64, download now. So preferred language, English USA, confirm. Then you start downloading, right? Might be about 5 gig or something like that, but if you click this, it will start downloading. I don't want to download it, so but click this, you start downloading, right? And I can pause this or cancel the download, right? Okay, so when you have that, just use your favorite hypervisor, maybe VirtualBox or VMware, anyone, just install the machine and then you're good to go, right? You're good to go. So we've installed Redline. Let me show you how Redline looks like. Redline. So we just learn how to use Redline and then we can proceed to the next quiz. So here's how this Redline is structured, right? So for example, remember that we had a file earlier that had it was a picture. We got the name, we got the string, we had a lot of stuff, and we created that, right, using the Mandiant IOCe collector editor, right? And then we created it to a threat hunting folder it's in the desktop, yes, right? So it's this file, the one we created using this Mandiant here, don't forget, right? So here, when we want to create an IOCe search collector, why we're using this is saying that use that file that I created earlier, right, in the desktop, thread hunting. We'll see it populate here. Malware IOCe was the name. Now remember that there's a file name, there's a size, and then the 5 sum that we put in there, right? So we want to use what we've gathered here to scan our system, right? So if I did something like next and edit your script, so editing my script here will say that I want to search for, so let's try to just do a sample. So we know that there's that file here. Where's that picture that I downloaded? It was this one, right? I could try to alter it. Should I try to alter it? So I wanted to have a quick view of how to hunt for this particular file. So let's assume this was our malware, right? And remember that we had gathered this, it's IOCe, using the Mandiant IOCe editor, right? So if we launched Redline here and said create an IOCe search collector, browsing to the folder where we created that one earlier, remember it was thread hunting folder. So if we selected this, we would see that malware IOCe that we created. Remember we used the file name, the size, and then the 5 sum of this file. This clean person, right? So now what I have done is I have copied this same file and I put it to a directory in the desktop called the hunt directory. So the file also exists here, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to try to scan my machine. Now you know I only have the name of the file, the size, and then the 5 sum. So what I'm about to do is scan my machine and say find me. So when you click edit your script, see, look at, if we click next, we would see edit your script. Click edit your script. So the various options that we see here is saying, like, depending on the kind of IOCe that we have, right? So we had the IOCe for a file, and they say we are hunting for a file, for example, right? If it was a process, drivers, hook, and other things, right? We would check these places, right? But because I know it's just a file I am checking for, and if I click show advanced parameters, here I get to choose where it should look for, right? So because this is just a test, I'm not checking my entire system. I'm going to tell it look in this hunt directory. So maybe I can put other files, some other files here just to populate this, so it's not as if it's just empty. So maybe I can put this also in the hunt directory, right? So it's not just having that file. I could mix this anywhere, but for example, I just want you to find it here, right? Look here, right? And say include directories, look for MD5, include the files, strings. Did we put strings? We didn't use strings. So if we gather the strings of that file, we included it. We put include strings here, right? So we can say what else do we want to include? Deleted files. No, we don't want to include deleted files. We can just check volumes here. System, no, not network, no others. I think we are good with the disk, right? We're good with the disk. So I can put OK here and say where am I saving this collector to, right? So I now need to specify a new directory and say I'll put in my desktop too and create a new folder and say outcome, for example, right? So it's going to create a file for me. It's going to give me a script that I can run. So if I click this open directory containing portable package, right, I will have a run Redline audit script here that I need to run. So if I run this script, what you have to do is it's going to search the path that I put earlier, right? And it's going to check for all the files there if there's anyone matching those IOCs that I specified, right? So I want to run this using the command prompt, and I want to run my command prompt as administrator, right? Because we want to give it administrative privilege. I mean the script. We don't want any hindrance. So I'm just going to navigate to this directory where the script is. Copy this, change directory here, 2 quotes, paste in between, enter. My dir, I'd see the file here. Can do something like run, just run that file, right? The name, enter. So it's running. So while it's running, it's going to create a file in these sessions. You see this was quick. That's because it's not searching the entire system, right? So in these sessions here, it's going to create something like analysis session 1. So the more you run the script, if you run the script again now, you would see analysis session 2, right? If I refresh this, so let me come back and show you analysis session 2, right? So it's saying that I can just launch this analysis session and see a report. So let me close Redline and try to run this analysis session 1 the first time run. So you can double click it, just wait for it to generate the report, and then we can go and analyze and see if there's any file that that eats, right? That eat our IOCe. So creating report as completed. You can come here and say IOCe reports, right? If you click here, we're going to see something like this. I think my screen. So you see 1 out of 1 indicators of compromise have hit this session. So if I click this, I'm going to see, I can just view it. And it's going to tell me that this file, if I click this info here, it will tell me what it eats. So it didn't find that the size is this particular thing, but it got the name and it got the MD5 sum, right? So we've successfully detected this file on the desktop, right? In this ONT directory, we have detected that, right? So you'll be asked to complete similar activity also in the quiz here, but this time around you'll be given so let's download this quiz file, right? Malware hunting with IOCe. So if you downloaded this 12th hunting activity, which I already downloaded here, so I can just copy this somewhere like my documents. Done it in documents. No. So I want to extract this to document, for example. Now this quiz is as easy as anything, right? What we want to do in this quiz here now is to, now you see that we've already been given the IOCe file, right? This means that they have already used Mandiant IOCe collector, right? And then they've created an IOCe file. There's now a target directory where we would say, okay, Redline, look here. So this looks like an image disk that we're trying to scan for this malware, right, using the IOCs that we found in this other file, right? So typically how we do this is open Redline. So I'm going to close this and try to reopen it, right? I'm going to say Redline. I'm going to say create a search collector. It's going to ask me for a folder. I'm going to say come to document, hunting activity, select folder, right? So you see that IOCe has been generated here already because we had the file here, the IOCe file, right? So whoever created that file already put part of the IOCe, the file name, MD5, the size, and some strings, right? So we can click next, but remember that we need to edit that script. So editing the script will allow us to specify where we want to. So you know that if I did not specify here, choosing that show advanced parameters, it's going to search my entire system. So why waste my time scanning my entire system when I know that even the malware I'm trying to find is here in the target directory, right? So I just need to find a way to specify that it should only check this target directory. So I'm going to copy this path and I'm going to paste it here, right? So what am I looking for? I'm looking for strings, right? I'm looking for MD5. What else was specified earlier? SHA1, and then I'm going to say disk volumes. So I can do something like memory. No, I don't need drivers. Network. No, I don't need. Just this disk is fine. So I can do something like include deleted files. I can do something like include files, get version info, include directories, and read imports, not necessary. Right, just check whatever is necessary for your scenario, right, your case test, and then okay. So where do you want to save the collected to? Now I'm going to create a new folder, so I can create it in desktop and say new folder on top or Huntress, right? So okay, finished, right? The same way we did for that picture file. So let's run this Redline audit, but we know that we need to come here and then must be running command prompt as administrator, right? So I'm going to navigate to that directory, and then if I run that script now, first show me the script, this one, right? So run Redline audit.bat. So just wait, this might take a minute or two. When it's done, we are going to, oh, it's done already. So remember that sessions will be created. I can close Redline and try to, open that session. So analysis session, just double click here. So wait for it to be done, and then we can go and view the report. So if it prompts you, just say yes. So creating IOCe report is running, it has completed. IOCe reports, click the report. Yes, so if you click this and view it, so we see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Can I zoom this? No, I can't zoom it. So my screen is small, just bear with me, but please do yours so you can see it. So these results can be used to answer the corresponding quiz here, right? So the quiz might ask you something like where's the quiz now? So let's try again. How many entries are there in the report, right? Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Answer that. What's the file name, including the extension that has the MD5 hash of this C stuff? So this is the second one I'm going to answer for you. So I think it matches this MD5 hash. And then what was he asking me? The file name. So I think the file name is this. I can just copy this, right? That's the file name. And then that will be the answer to this question, right? The third one, file path containing the size of this. So I can come here and say that size. So this is the path. As a matter of fact, all of this is the path, but know that we were in target directory. So I'm not going to copy from target directory from this C, right? I'm going to start from target directory here and just copy the file path and then paste it here. Right, okay, for example, see the format. The format already tells you to start from target directory, so I think it makes sense, right? So just answer the rest of those questions like this. Then we can come to the course capstone where we'll be dealing with real malware, right? So for privacy, security, protection reasons, right? There's some features we need to turn off in our computer, such as the where is it now? Firewall, virus and threat protection. We need that if we wanted to complete this challenge. So see that this challenge contains real malware, right? Do not download it to your host computer. I already have it anyway, right? So what you want to do is you'll be given two files, right? The th talent target and the intel. So I have both files here in my downloads. I've turned off my virus protection, right? So Windows Defender does not automatically delete those files. So is it back on? So I can do like manage settings. Okay, turn off real-time protection. Turn off everything. Right, just turn off everything. So I have that file here. Intel 2. I open this readme. So the notes. What's the note saying? Hey Hunter, Matt from Intel team here. Got a few things that might help you. The two samples are in the folder CTI team. Malware samples on the desktop. Grab your IOCs from them. It goes without saying, but don't open the malware. Why? Because this is malware, right? We saved you some work and identify the following strings that are present in the samples. Use them as IOCs, but make sure Redline is asserting strings, right? You already know how to put strings in those features you're looking for. So see the brief to enable them. So these are the strings. 1, 2. So when you are using your Mandiant IOCe editor, right? Ensure that in the OR there's this string, right? And then we believe that the user Dave S has potentially downloaded both samples. So limit Redline to only search directories associated with this user. So we are going to, otherwise you miss your launch. That's because it's going to take time. So we are specific now, looking for Dave S. So I think that's about it. Let me check the other malware samples. Do not run, right? These are both of them. So we might need something like, so if I came here and navigated here, so I'm doing all this for you. It's not making me run them. Okay, that's because I've not extracted them yet. Yeah, I can extract it to desktop, for example. No. Why can't I? Yeah, copy to desktop. So it's in desktop. I can copy this cd. Don't fret, so far you're in a virtual machine. So this is the size, this is the name. I can add it to my Mandiant here, right? I can see in the file. I'm trying to see which one I created earlier for it. But I'll just make a new folder in desktop and say course capstone, right? Capstone. It's not hard. Okay. And I can now say new indicator, right? I can say capstone IOCe and say author who am I or something. Just put your name wherever you like. Capstone IOCe for hunting. Then you can put a smiley if you like, right? Add item. So here we have the name, right? Hunt for the name. Copy this. Ctrl C. Let's hunt for name. So add item, file, item. Oh, jeez. File name. What's file name? File name, right? File name is this, or file name is my file.exe, right? So right click again, add item, file item, and then file name, right? So file size now, this. You saw the way I did it the first time, right? So I'm not gonna do all of this. You're gonna have to do it. File size, right? Just populate it. Ensure you take away this comma, right? Enter. do this other size too, right? And then you now have to do something like set util and say hash file for my file, right? My file.exe, and say we want the md5. Don't be limited, you can do md5 sha1 sha256 sha512. Just collect enough, right? And then say, for example, this was 512, so I can come and say add item file 512, right? Yeah, if there's no 512, you can do 256 or sha1, right? So sha256, so I'm just going to copy this 256. Something like this. Do that, complete it for both of them, both files, right? And then when we are done, we'll be launching Redline, right? We would select something like create an IOCe search collector, select the folder wherever you store that. Now you select. So I think I stored that in a new desktop. It was capstone. I would see it here. If I had created it, I would see it, right? I would see it. So I'm going to do something like we want to add where we want to search. Remember, this is one of the zip files. So the other zip file is that target itself, the target directory for the challenge. The one I was opening that showed you that malware samples was this Intel. So the other file would be where's downloads? I think it's this. No, this one is Intel. I need target directory. Target 2 looks like it's this. Div S. So extract this also. So I'm going to maybe copy this to desktop. So from desktop, I can just say div S. Where's div S? Where did it go to? Right? And say this is where you search. So when you import your script from Redline and you edit that script, you go to the file. So just put the target when you check the advanced file properties. So give it this device. So if you can open the device like this and just copy this and paste it in that target, then check all what you need, right? And then run the script using command prompt in administrator mode, right? Check your outcome, check your result, and then you can answer the questions here, right? So ensure that you do it. Just get practical and then hands-on. So just ensure that you do everything that I have said in this course, right? Digest the learning material, right, from A to Z. I skipped a lot. So go through it yourself, digest it, do the practicals as I've showed you, and then the course capstone, right? It's not super hard. So just take your time and then share the result with me. So I'll also leave links to the resources that are needed to be downloaded, such as the Redline and Mandiant IOCe collector. Also, I'll try to include the Windows 11 IOCe image file, right, that you need to download. And then I'll see you in the next class. Okay.